Hello and welcome everybody to my first YouTube video. I love YouTube, I love Twitch. I've been doing my content, my streaming only on Twitch so far. And I've been thinking about joining YouTube as well. It's just always been this extra step, this extra hurdle that I didn't want to take for X, Y reasons. But the time has come and here we are. Yes, YouTube has its benefits, has its things that are better compared to Twitch, right? The videos are more compact, you can fast forward, you don't have to sit there and watch your Twitch streamer play something that you don't enjoy as much. It is, in a sense, more comfortable. YouTube is always there, easy to find. While the Twitch streamer might not be always online when you just want to lay in bed at the end of the day and watch a YouTube video, you can always find it easily. With the Twitch VODs, it's sometimes a little, complicated and such. Anyways, we don't have to get into that. Here I am doing YouTube, excited about it. And this will be my first video. This will be a draft analysis of my Worlds draft. There couldn't be a better way to start off, I'd say. And yeah, let's get right into it. So this is the World Championship draft on day one. I prepared an infinite amount for this tournament. I've done lots of drafts. I've watched Ham TV on Twitch. I'm gonna link him down in the text box, I guess you would say. And he is an amazing drafter, funny guy as well. And I've studied, I don't know how many hours I spent on his Twitch stream. But yeah, I spent a lot of time there and learned from him. Anyways, we did a lot of preparation. Going in, I wanted to be blue-white the most of all things. But considering this high caliber of players, you can't just go and set your mind on a draft archetype and try to force that. You have to be open-minded because people know that blue is good, everyone will know that, and it will be highly contested, probably. So you have to have alternatives planned. So I was open to drafting the weaker archetypes, the weaker colors, and I was just ready to see what happens. Okay, let's jump right into it. Here you see very strong competition. Alright, first pick, first pack. Augur of Autumn. Very good card, very good rare. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, in your turn or anytime. And you may play lands from the top of your library. If you have Coven activated, you may also play creatures. So it's a 3 mana 2/3 that's just an absolute card advantage engine in itself. The rest of the pack, Covered Cut Purse, Fair Black, Uncommon. I'm not the biggest fan of the 3/4 Flying Vampire. Lunarch Veteran is fantastic for the blue-white archetype I love. Close to my heart, the Disturb. Also, there's a Shipwreck Sifters, which goes great along with the Lunarch Veteran. But the rest of the pack, really not that impressive. Just some solid fillers, mostly. And really, this pick is for me between like Augur of Autumn and Lunarch Veteran or Shipwreck Sifters. And Augur of Autumn being in green, obviously not one of the colors you want to be in. Just still so much better than the other two options. Or free if you want to cut the cut purse. So that this was an easy choice for me. Not much I could wheel, maybe the Snarling Wolf or the Might of the Old Ways in the pack that could come around. Not important things to consider. Yellowhead to my left I don't know what Yellowhead will take out of this pack. Sifter, Veteran, we'll see, I don't know. Yeah, here's the table, you can take a quick look. Sampadi, Lakisis, Keisuke Sato, Sperling, Noriko Mori, Manfield, Sperling passing to me. So let's see what the next pack shows us. I can only jump in 30 seconds. That was not very well prepared of me, I guess. Let's see. Alright. Pack number... Oh no, too fast. Alright, pack number 2. Briarbridge Tracker in the rare slot got past me. That's obviously an easy pickup for me. I mean, a fantastic rare after I just picked up a fantastic rare. Otherwise, we have Covetous Castaway, good blue, blue uncommon for the blue-white archetype mostly, but you're happy playing it mostly in any blue deck. Some other blue cards passing the way, and an uncommon missing. Could be anything really. But maybe like an Infernal Grasp, could be a Scab Wrangler, like one of those. Or maybe a weaker card, and Sperling just really didn't want to be in green. Yeah, but I'm extraordinarily happy to see this tracker, because it kind of gives me the signal that, hey, you just draft green here. Sperling giving me that signal, go into green, have your fun, and I'm just stoked to draft, to start with the draft. So I'll pick up the tracker. Yeah, not much thinking about that. Next pack. What do we have? Dualcraft Trainer, amazing white common. We already have a Coven creature, uncommon, I'm sorry, that gives double strike to your creatures. We have the Defended Celestials, solid combat trick. I do like playing one copy in my green aggressive decks. I wouldn't pick it up super highly. I think it's fairly replaceable. It might be a little bit stronger than something like Hole of the Hunt, but not by a ton. Yeah, then the rest of the pack, we have some red aggressive creatures, we have some white fillers, and we have an Angler that might get picked up by Yellowhead, maybe going into blue-white Disturb. If you also values the Lunak Veteran as highly as I did in pack 1. But yeah, Dualcraft Trainer, just by far and away the best card in the pack. Happy to just go with that pick here. I'm not the biggest fan of Green-Red Coven, but I think if you have a good deck, if you just have a solid curve, you can make green-red work. You just have some combat tricks, maybe a candle trap here and there, and as you can see, my card quality is already super high. So in the end, if my card quality is high, it does not matter really which archetype I'm in. And yeah, I mean, the Coven archetype can certainly work, even though it's not one of the best ones, and I'm happy to dive into it. Alright, here we have a fairly empty pack, you could say, in terms of green, unfortunately. I was surprised to see that. It could just be that some packs have less green cards, right? So we have a Covetous Castaway again. I was a little bit, okay, I could have been a blue-white Disturb deck for sure. I could have had 2 of those, etc. But I was still happy with my pick here. I was thinking about picking up the 1/3. I was thinking about one of the red cards. Red certainly seemed to be at least flowing in the common department. Festival Crasher for the blue-red archetype, perhaps. But on the other hand, I saw this one white card, which is fairly good in the Coven archetype, and I thought to myself, I might just cut white entirely off, so that Yellowhead behind me, and maybe the player after Yellowhead, knows that white is a no-go area, or at least that was my thinking. It's a fine card. None of the other cards really stand out and work together. Let's go back again. None of the other cards really work together with what I have, right? Covetous Castaway doesn't work well with the green stuff, or the Trainer. This works well with the stuff I have so far, even though it is not like a standout card. And yeah, the red stuff also really doesn't work well with my things. And I try to avoid red-green, because red-green is really just... There are not much synergies in red-green. It's just the werewolf creatures, some good cards, some tricks, some big things. I'll try to stay away from red-green. The format is very good against big green things, with lots of chump blockers or very efficient cheap removal. So let's see. Alright, I jumped too far. What do we have? We have Hobbling Zombie, one of the better black commons. Tireless Hauler, another vampire card. We have like the 3rd Blood Type Collector. And again, not much going on in green. I'm happy with the white combat trick. I do like that card. It gives indestructible to any human, so it's sort of protection against any indestructible, any burn spell coming at one of your human creatures, which I have 4 humans in my pile so far. So I just picked that up, noticing of course black and red is slowing a little bit, but again, nothing good enough that I would like jump ship, you know what I mean? It's not really... It's Falkenrath Perforator, okay, happy to have it in red-black. And a 2/2 zombie, happy to have it in general, but it's nothing that like stands out and I want to grab it and have it for my deck. Another medium deck, pack, not deck. We have a 2/4 reach creature, which is like fine in the defensive green decks, good against blue flyers. We have a 4/5, very replaceable. We have an Unruly Mob, which is would be my first 2-drop, I'm sorry. But it's not that impactful of a card, and usually you get Unruly Mobs later in the game. And I felt like Broodweaver might not end up in my main deck, but could be a good sideboard card. Is the more powerful card of the two. If I'm playing like a racy matchup against a deck with flyers, the Weaver might come in handy. Well, so here we have Celestial Sanctifier. 3-mana 3/2. Not that special, especially not in a Coven deck. I'd rather have the lifelink creature. And we have a 5-mana 5/5, again replaceable. Debatable if the 4/5 Vigilance Werewolf isn't even stronger than this card in some spots. And we have a Lunar Frenzy in red here. And Lunar Frenzy is quite the magic card. And really, I don't want to play against that card necessarily. So this will be my pick. I just pick it up. Secondly, we're playing in pot. So we're playing against each other. Someone else might have that Lunar Frenzy. I don't want to play against that card and get blown out from a comfortable life total in the later stages of a game, right? Lunar Frenzy can't just be that powerful. So I'll pick it up. Not thinking much about it. I wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going into red here. As you can see, I put it on a pile with Broodweaver. Those are the cards that I probably won't play. I'm still looking to play the green-white Coven deck. I'm feeling a little bit bad about how my draft went so far with the Tracker into Augur start, which kind of signalized to me, oh, green is open. But in the end, not really, unfortunately. Maybe the packs didn't go well. Or as we later find out, the person before Matt Sperling is actually drafting heavily green. So that was the reason why I didn't get green past as much. But there's a Dawnhard Wardens. And a Gavany Silverswift and a Village Watch. This pack is fairly strong compared to the others. We also got to acknowledge that the packs were kind of weak. Gavany Silversmith, very good. Definitely consideration. Because it also sticks to just one color instead of committing me to green, perhaps. I could maybe be in Boros, although I really don't want to. Boros is also one of the weaker archetypes in my experience. But yeah, I just picked up the Warden. I had the 2 green rares. It's very, very difficult to not see me playing green at least. And I was stoked to see that. I was stoked to see this pack. Thinking a little bit about, I mean, the Silversmith could just be on raw power level, be a better card, right? It provides you with 4 power and 5 toughness spread out. The Warden is just a 3/3 Vigilance creature. That was an easy pickup. Snarling Wolf is a nice card in these Coven decks. Here we get the green trick. Happy to see that. Likely gonna play it. It's a good card, right? It's 2/2 and draw a card in most situations in these green-white Coven decks. So stoked to see that. Here's an interesting pick to be honest with you. Look, we have 2 good red 2-drops, 2 solid red 2-drops, and we have Ritual Garden. So this kind of signalizes to me that the red aggressive archetype is probably relatively underdrafted at the table. I was considering picking one of these up because I had the Lunar Frenzy, but still, I have more white cards. I just picked up Dawnhard Wardens, even though I'm unlikely to play the Ritual Garden because it's like one of the weaker 3-drops, and usually you're cluttered with 3-drops. I took the white card to signalize maybe to my neighbor that red is open and that I'm the white drafter. Here with a Stinger, this late in the pack, I was like, okay, really? The red archetype is really open. This was not just random. Like, Stinger is a strong common for any aggressive red deck. So this is definitely signalizing me, okay, red is certainly open. And a Falkenrath Perforator. Okay, that's interesting. Let's keep that in mind. Anyways, we move on in the draft. Alright, this is pack number 2. Yeah, well, I am likely to be green-white already with the cards I have, and I'm opening another trainer, so happy to see that. Other considerations, maybe the Burn the Accursed, a Lunak Veteran wouldn't be bad for the deck. Burn the Accursed would obviously be for the red version of the deck. But yeah, otherwise it's an easy trainer, no green cards. And yeah, Olivia's Midnight Ambush that I'm passing along here as a standout black card to my neighbor, which I then put into blue-black. Well, it is, look at the cards I've drafted so far. I don't have a single black card, I don't have a single blue card. So I was like, okay, probably Matt passed me that Briarbridge Tracker over some black or blue uncommon, and yeah, solidified himself into blue-black. So I could be sure that this Olivia's Midnight Ambush will probably land in Matt's deck. Alright. Interesting pack. We have a Dreadhound as a standout black card. White and green, we have Eccentric Farmer and Candle Trap, another Flare of Faith. And red, we have Electric Revelation for the blue-red deck mostly, and a Village Watch, which I'm not the biggest fan of. The card is fine, but it's not necessarily stronger than the common 5-drops, for example, in green. Yes, so we have 2 combat tricks already. Candle Trap should be online fairly easily in my deck, but on the other hand, Candle Trap costs 4 mana to remove a creature, and 4 mana is a lot. You want to be efficient. That's where you get your tempo from. You have to finish the game quickly. So I'm usually more a fan of playing combat tricks than a Candle Trap in these green-white Coven decks. That in different archetypes where I'm not attacking as much, I would rather have a Candle Trap, but here I'm not as much of a fan of it. So I chose to pick up the Farmer. Farmer is not at its best in green-white Coven. You could say it's the worst, but it's just such a good card, finding you a land and being a body for Coven. It is difficult to just pass up that card on raw power level. So yeah, I'm just happy to pick up the Farmer, considering the Candle Trap here. I would also consider that Candle Trap should be easier to pick up than a Farmer on average. Yeah. Alright. Next pack. Very disappointed. I really didn't pass any much green, but we are not getting green from... I mean, we got an Eccentric Farmer. Not getting much from the other side. Very empty pack. This is between Bird Admirer and Gavany Trapper for me. The Trapper I actually quite like in the green-white Coven deck. Only there, really. In the other decks, you usually don't have time to activate it. But in the green-white Coven deck, you can play it on turn 1, play a 2-drop on turn 2, and then a turn 3 Coven card, for example, and have Coven enabled already. And that's pretty cool. And you also can tap things. Alright, here you see me being stoked about that Sentry. I absolutely love Sentry. I'm missing the 2-drops. Sentry is great. It's great against the blue-white decks. It's great against the blue-black decks. They barely have blockers for it. It attacks for a ton. Coven should be easily enabled, so happy to pick that up out of this pack. Alright. We're seeing lots of vampires going around. Vampires certainly not drafted at the table, or at least from this side. Could have maybe been in vampires this draft, but the seed I think, was fairly reasonable with the cards we opened up. Anyways, here's a Defender Celestius out of a fairly weak pack. There's not much discussion. Sun God Barrage is more of a sideboard card to me in a deck like this. And yeah, some filler green-white creatures that we can pick up later, likely, or already have in the sideboard in the case of Ritual Guardian. So happy to pick up another combat trick. Really looking for more 2-drops. This pack, yeah, we have 2 very, very medium white cards that you usually don't want to put in your deck. Hold of Dawn is a green trick, and Shadow Beast Sighting is one of the stronger green commons, not at its best in this archetype, but it provides me with a 4-power creature for Coven, which I don't have that many of, just a Briarbridge Tracker. It is just a solid card, right? It gives you some grind out potential for the late game. Happy to pick that one up. Alright, this is already interesting. So here, Sun God Barrage, Blessed Defiance, Bounding Wolf, medium fillerish cards. I'm just trying to see if I want the wolf. I don't think I want the wolf in this deck. I'm thinking about Blessed Defiance in like a racing scenario against, for example, a red deck. This card could be good, but red is not really going around. Red seems to be open with the Sunrise Cavalier and the Burn the Accursed, so I might not play against many other red players. So the Sun Gold Barrage is being a solid sideboard card. But certainly this Burn the Accursed is like, oh wow, this is one of the better red commons, and it's still in the pack. But I just wanted to stick to the plan here, and then we see this pack. Classic Naturalist, another Burn the Accursed. I'm like, wow. Alright. Red certainly underdrafted at this table. There's also a Snarling Wolf. You know, I have the 2 Dual Craft Trainers. I have the Dawnhard Wardens. The Snarling Wolf is... I do like the second copy. I wouldn't play a third copy likely, but a second copy would make my deck more often than not. And gives me a 1-power creature for Coven or a 3-power creature for Coven, right? It's like both in the same card, which is kind of nice. You have that flexibility in case you need one or the other for Coven. Well, yeah, so I picked that one up, but I'm like, damn, there's all this red flowing around. Maybe I should have just been red-green. And there's another Burn the Accursed. And I'm like, whoa. Really? Is this all coming around? This was my first pick, right? Where I picked the Dualcraft Trainer. There was like Burn the Accursed was one of the better cards in the pack. But yeah, it's still here. And I'll just pick it up over the second copy of Might of the Old Ways. I still have these cheap, aggressive red creatures. I have the Lunar Frenzy. And I'm thinking to myself, if red is so open right now, that really nobody seems to be drafting it. Maybe like one person, I don't know. Maybe I can just very late jump onto the archetype. Or, yeah. Definitely a little bit... here we have... Again, the 2 red cards. Nobody took a red card out of that pack that I got past, or at least nobody after me seeing this pack took a red card. So I take the Village Watch. Okay, here's an easy plummet for the sideboard. And here you can already see me putting the red cards to the side, taking a look. Right now, I definitely still like the white cards more. The Dualcraft Trainer is just very strong, giving double strike, being a 4-mana 3/3 first strike in itself. It's a really strong card. Yeah, I'm happy to see this pack. Pestilent Wolf giving me another 2-drop that I'm missing. I'm also thinking to myself, I'm kind of missing the cheap creatures here, and the red provides me with those. Oh well, here we are. What a pack. We have Vanquish the Horde, which is an amazing card, right? It is Wrath of God. But green-white is perhaps the worst color combination for Wrath of God. So, yeah. I'm actually thinking about the Outrider, I'm thinking of the Silversmith, even the Kafar Commando giving me a 2-drop here. There's some red stuff, Famished Forager, Village Watch. And then there's the Wrath. What do you take? I really wasn't sure. We're playing in pot. The Wrath could be an amazing play against another aggressive deck, against a green deck on the draw. For example, if you are on the back foot, you could just try to get someone. I really don't want to play against the Wrath at all. So I ended up picking the Wrath. Just the sheer power level of the card was yeah, not frightening me, but I wanted to get it out of the system, and I put it in the side, but I wasn't sure if I played. Burn down the house. I'm like, wow, all right. What a draft, right? I just took the white sweeper. Now we get past the red sweeper. Well, other considerations is like Shadow Beast sighting. Bird Admirer is fine in a more defensive green deck. Is a good card in a defensive green deck. Less good in an aggressive green deck. And then some red filler 4/3s. Yeah, Burn Down the House is a sweeper on the one hand, but the Devils are also quite good against lots of board states where you can just make the hasty Devils. So I'm just like torn. I'm like, oh, damn. I wish I would have picked maybe Classic Naturalist or some other things, because I'm not going to pass this Burn Down the House. One of the best rares in the set. The flexibility, yeah, I just had to take it. And here we see a Vampire Socialite, which, yes, I could have been in Vampires perhaps in this draft, but with the start, not much I could have done there. I think I drafted fine this spot. So here I make a curve considerations pick. I don't know if I'm really happy with that. I was still looking at green-white, I think, in that situation. I was like, am I green-white? Am I green-red? And for the green-white deck, as you can see, I'm low on 2-drops, and the green-white Coven deck really wants a lot of 2-drops. And the Timberland guide also provides you with that flexibility with Coven, right? Enabling Coven maybe by putting a counter somewhere else than having a 1/1. But I think in hindsight, maybe it would have been better to take the Farmer, because it's just on just power level wise much stronger. And if I end up playing red, I have plenty of 2-drops I can play. All right, so here we have another Clarion Cafars. We have a Bird Admirer. Fine, we have a 2/4 and another 2/4, not happy about those. Arden Elementalist, Brimstone Vandal, and Stolen Vitality for red deck potentially. This is like a bunch of mediums. I could go 3 different colors here. I already have 4 4-drops, so the Cafars doesn't really excite me. I'm very likely to play green. I'm pretty sure I'm end up picking Bird Admirer. It is a good sideboard card. It could just be a solid one-off in my deck if I'm a little bit more mid-rangey. Yeah. One thing that you might notice about my deck, I don't have much removal. The green-white deck just has a tapper and some combat tricks. I mean, we have a Sun Gold Barrage and a Vanquished Horde in the sideboard at the very least, I suppose. The red deck only has a Burn Down the House and a Burn the Accused, so I'm low on removal. The third Snarling Wolf, I really don't want that. Tireless Hauler, again, I'm fine playing one of those, but I feel like what I'm really missing here is the Silver Bolt. It is not the most efficient removal in this set, especially with all the efficient removal in black that we have access to in Innistrad Midnight Hunt, but it is just a removal, and just getting that into your deck, having that option against the Werewolf deck, for example, killing anything basically, was important to me. Rite of Oblivion very late in the pack. Yeah. So this is like a crossroad point. So you have some white floating around all of a sudden. You have a Cafar Commander, which I'm pretty happy to have for the green-white deck. Loyal Griff, also a good card. And you have another removal spell, a fight spell with Coven. And then you have red 2-drops. Obsessive Astronomer is a very good card in some decks, I would say. For example, in blue-red, you basically never flood out if you have this 2-drop on the board, which is... It doesn't look very strong, but it is very strong. They're just being flood insured by your 2-drop. So I'm looking at all these. I'm really torn. What am I doing here? I've Burned on a House in red. I have these dual craft trainers and the Donut Wardens in white. What am I doing here? If I'm green-white Coven, I probably pick up the 2-mana free one. I wasn't quite sure what to do here, so I just stayed on the green because I was sure I'm playing green. I took the fight spell, which I'm happy to have in green-red, in green-white. Alright, dragon a little bit overcosted, and yeah, easy shadow beast siding. Not much to explain there or question. Here we have medium white cards, and we have an immolation, which is a fine removal spell. Better in a controlling deck than an aggressive one. So yeah, I'm just picking up the werewolf here. I have a decent amount of spells. I don't know, it's a close pick. The werewolf is obviously much better in blue-red than in my deck, for example. Here, morning patrol came around. Yeah, I was like, oh, I could have. I'm like between decks right now, right? I don't even know what I pick up here. I pick up the village watch. Yeah, I didn't have many 5-drops, right? And there was another village watch. So I picked up the village watch. I'm not that happy about that pick. I would have probably preferred to, I don't know, pick the morning patrol maybe or something like that. Take a 4-drop in case I'm red-green. Red-green does not have many 4-drops so far. Yeah, here we have a Tavern Ruffian, probably picking that up over the Mounted Dread Knight. And a Vandal. And a Tidus Hauler. And another Tidus Hauler. So I had my green 5-drops. In the end, I said they're replaceable. In the end, I got them. After drafting a final card. Alright. Yeah, we'll see me deck building here, laying out the different types of decks. So yeah, this would be the green-white version of what I drafted. I could apparently add another card to the deck, which perhaps would be a 4/5, or maybe the Vanquish. But yeah, the 2-drop slot is a little. We only have a Pestilent Wolf, a Timberland Guide, and a Harvest-Tide Sentry, so we don't have many 2-drops. I'm making a screenshot for comparing it later, of course, to the red-green deck, which we're building now. So here we see the curve being filled out a little bit more. And we have like a better curve. We have the Lunar Frenzy is another strong combat trick. We have the Sweeper and another good removal and 5 mana. What I realized is that with the 2 Snarling Wolves and all these tricks, and I kind of had good use for my mana already, so I don't think I would have played the Stinger yet again in this deck. I think Stinger was too much activated abilities that I couldn't use. I also have the Lampold Harrier, the 2/2 wolf that you can use to make a creature not block. So yeah, I think I shouldn't have played the Stinger. I should have maybe played a Bird Admirer or a Brimstone Vandal, just a solid creature that you can't really go wrong with. And maybe it was also reasonable to, instead of the Village Watch, play a Tidus Hauler. Because actually the Tidus Hauler could be my only creature that could get 6 toughness and survive a burn down the house. The Spellrune Painter could also survive a burn down the house if it's flipped. Yeah. But yeah, in the end, I wasn't quite sure. We had 10 minutes time limit. I think it's close. I think the green-white deck has definitely very strong cards. But I decided to go with my game 1 configuration with the red cards. And this is the build I ended up with, +1 Silverbolt. I added the Silverbolt. I wanted another removal spell. And just to get rid of any powerful rare or what have you. And yeah, this is just the game 1 configuration. So I could always board into green-white. I definitely had that as my backup plan. If I'm playing against a deck that doesn't have good removal for the trainer, I'm surely going to go into green-white. For example, like a blue-green deck that tries to interact with you via bounce and locked in a cemetery. I would have played probably green-white against that opponent. So double strike ability is very strong. I ended up going 1-2 with this deck. I beat one blue-black opponent. I lost against another blue-black opponent that I think I could have won against if I would have drawn a little bit better. And then in the last round of the draft portion, I played against blue, white, splashing green. Had like 4 or 5 rares. The Vanquish, the Horde, like I had also the Wrath. And had 2 good blue rares that draw cards. And just overall good white creatures and white bodies. And I bought it into green-white because there was not much removal besides like the Wrath, which then also knocked me out in game 3 of that matchup. So I lost a close one there with my green-white version of the build. I ended up 1-2ing the draft. I think my deck was one of the better decks. I think I could have beaten that blue-black opponent. The second one, Eli Cassis. It wasn't meant to be. But yeah, that's the variance in Magic sometimes. And in the end, I think it's a solid 2-1 deck. If I'm playing a League on Magic Online, for example, if I'm playing a 7-round best of 1 on Arena or a best of 3 on Arena, I would not consider this deck to be a 2-1. I would probably rather think like, this is probably a 1-2. I mean, it has the power level, right? It has 3 rares, so this deck can always just draw the rares and win. But there's not much synergy going on, and in Midnight Hunt, I really want the synergies usually. But with this pot play, you got to keep in mind that probably most people will have worse decks because everyone's picking out the high quality cards. They hate drafting from each other. So in a pot play like that, this deck I think is in general stronger. And I was reasonably happy, although I was not sure because I didn't know what the other people necessarily had. Maybe I was just not getting much and the other people had great decks. But in the end, when we saw each other's decks, I was like, oh, okay. These my opponents actually don't have like amazing decks, and a 2-1 is certainly in it. Yeah, so this was my draft. This was my first YouTube video. If you'd like it, if you have feedback, negative, positive, shoot it at me in the comments. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to improve with you guys together. And any other content, any other videos you think that I would be fitting to provide, to produce. If it's draft matches, we could play a draft and then play the matches, and or I could do a 5-set match of a standard deck with intricate look into sideboarding, or any kinds of things, match reviews. Shoot me in the comments, in the comment section with it. Tell me what you think, what you like. And I'm happy to go on this YouTube journey with you. And thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Bye bye.